Hey, welcome back to the Mr. Excel Netcast. It's a dueling Excel podcast. I'm Bill Jelen from Mr. Excel. We also have Mike Gervin from Excel is Fun. Question today came in, how do we count times that are greater than 5 minutes? So here's some sample times. We want to count how many of those are greater than 5 minutes. Before I jump into that, let's just talk about using the COUNTIF function a little bit. Normally, so we have some numbers here, and the way the COUNTIF typically is used, equal COUNTIF. Go look at this range and see how many of those are equal to the number 3, 3 being the criteria. So that shows us that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells that are equal to 3. But it is possible to build somewhat complex criteria in here, and we can put in quotes, say everything that is greater than or equal to 3, and that will count all 8 cells that are greater than 3. So we're going to talk today about building some sort of complex criteria. Couple of ways to go. One is to say equal COUNTIF, and we specify this range of cells over here, and then I'm going to build a complex criteria where I use the greater than sign and then an ampersand, and to get that time in there, I'm going to use the time function. Time 0 hours, 5 minutes, and 0 seconds. And then another parenthesis to close the COUNTIF. And we will see that there are, in fact, 4 cells that work. Now, if it's a hassle to you to use the time function, you could just come over here to the left and put in actual time. So we have the 12:05 a.m., which is formatted to show us 5 minutes. And then use a formula here that says we're going to use the greater than sign and concatenate that with the value of D7, and that will work. And the beautiful thing here is that if we would change the criteria to be maybe 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, it will do a different calculation. 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, different calculation, and so on. The third method, though, the one that seems just the easiest to me, is to do equal COUNTIF. We'll look at our range over here, and then we're going to build a criteria in quotes where we say greater than 0, 05, 00. So we're actually formatting the time to how it looks back here, and Excel takes a look at that and understands what we're trying to do, and sure enough comes up with the answer of 4. So 3 different ways to solve this. We're going to turn it over to Mike and have Mike take a look at different ways that he can come up with formulas to solve the same problem.
Thanks, Mr. Excel. Hey, those were 3 amazing methods. Look at that one. The time, that's a great one. This one right here, very good because it's linked to the cell. And this one, wow, with the time built right in. Now, lots of people like to hard code like this into the cell, and if it's always 5 minutes, that's certainly fine to do. We'll do a variation on that. Let's think about how many hours there are in one day. There's 24. How many minutes? 60. So total minutes in a day will be the product of those 2. And we have 5 minutes. Our number of minutes that we're interested in is 5 minutes. Now, what is time anyway? Right? If we type 8 a.m., 8:00 space a.m. If we Control-1 and go look at the format, time, right? So time looks something like that. But if we get rid of, remember we typed it in this way. That's how we typed it in. But if we get rid of all the formatting with the general, we can see that it's a proportion of 1 24-hour day. So we could actually build our formula 5 divided by 1440. So we could do equals COUNTIF and get that range right there, comma, and then in quotes greater than, end double quote, shift 7 for ampersand, and then 5 divided by 140, close parentheses. And that one will work. Another variation, and for some times when you're dealing with time, like 8 hours, the fractional equivalent is really easy. It's just equals 1 divided by 3, right? There's 1/8 out of 3 in 24 hours. So let's see if we can figure out, if we're always dealing with 5 minutes, maybe we could see how many 5 minutes, if we can reduce this fraction. So how about just, we're interested in 5. So I'm going to take the 1440 and divide that by the 5. And sure enough, we get 288. So probably an even better formula, if we were doing this all the time and we like to do it this way, is just 1 divided by 288. Now, really, in this case, maybe you'd want to use one of these others. But if you're dealing with time, like 8 hours or something, then there's a simple fractional equivalent, then go ahead and use that. But this one will work. 1 divided by 288. All right, we'll see you next trick.
Hey, all right. Well, how about that? Next time someone wants you to do something, you're going to say, I'm going to be there in 5 minutes. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to be there in 1/288th of a day. All right, on behalf of Mike and myself, I want to thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another Dueling Excel podcast.